Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If it's your first time here, then as always it is good to see you and I hope you're going to stick around. Okay, well, welcome to our regular weekend video where we look at all things Airsoft and everything that's in our great hobby and sport that is Airsoft. If you've been following the channel, you probably know already that as well as these weekend videos, we normally upload midweek, normally on a Wednesday. Usually I look to include some sort of gameplay footage in those videos, but sometimes we'll also do a studio video. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please do get subscribed and then you won't miss any of my uploads. Okay, well, with that out of the way, what are we going to have a look at today? Well, there's a bit of story behind today. We're going to look at a replica, what I would class as a more budget-friendly replica. Maybe you could class it as a beginner replica. This replica I got as a boneyard item, if you'd like. It was donated to me by one of my friends who's a regular player at Tazball Airsoft, who basically it was a broken gun. It didn't work anymore and he's having to move away. So, you know, it was getting rid of all of his gear. Said I could take it and use it for spurs, but I thought I'd try and fix it, see what's wrong with it and see if I could make use of it. And that's where we find ourselves today, because I found the internals on it quite impressive for the money that you pay here in the UK. You know, I didn't think it was too bad at all to make a good beginner replica, or also a good budget replica if you're wanting something a little more affordable, or if you're looking for something with maybe an upgrade path if you wanted to do stuff to it in the future. So what are we looking at? Well, we are going to have a look at the Lancer Tactical LT19BL. And there it sits in all its glory. I've done a lot of work to this replica. It has been used many times over a long period of time until it didn't work anymore. It was quite beat up, quite dirty, needed quite a bit of work, but I've got it back up to scratch itch. It works now anyway. I've managed to repair it, and that's why I'm doing this video on it today. A bit of an overview of the Lancer Tactical LT19BL, just because I've had the gearbox open, I know what's in there, and I can make recommendations based on that. So, as we always do when we're having a look at a replica, I think we'll have a quick look round it, a quick nosy, see what you think of it, see if you like it, like the looks of it, and then we'll have a chat about it. Okay? Okay guys, so there we go, we've had a quick look round it. Don't know what you thought about it, but I think it's quite a good looking replica. Now obviously I'm very biased because I really like an AR style replica or an AR pattern replica. And I know, yes, there are hundreds of them about and you do see a lot of them on the Airsoft field, but it's because they're good. For me they're good handling, they feel good in the hand, the controls are easy to operate, and there is an absolute plethora of upgrades for the version 2 gearbox and upgrades for the externals on AR style replicas. So they've got a lot going for them. So let's talk about the price first of all, and then you can make your mind up when I've discussed it whether you think that's a good buy. You can get hold of one of these here in the UK, a Lancer Tactical LT19BL, the exact same one. You can get hold of one here in the UK for about 110 British pounds. I shall put a note in the description as to where you can get one of these if you did want one. So that's 110 British pounds. Now, I had a little bit more trouble getting prices in the States. The prices seem to vary wildly over in America there. In the United States, I managed to find one for around about $170. So, I mean, I'm not sure on the price, and it did range and it went up further than that. But the most affordable I found was $170 or 110 British pounds here in the UK. So, with that in mind, what do you get for your money? Well, basically, it's externally, which we'll look at first. Externally, you've got a 10-inch key mod rail. You get the replica itself in the box. You also get these sections of key mod rail section. There's only 2 mounted on here, but you do get 3 sections, and I've just mounted 2 on for now. But you do get 3 key mod sections, which are already attached to the handguard, but you can mount those wherever you want, with it being key mod. You also get a magazine, an instruction manual, and a box that it comes in. Now, obviously, I don't have any of those with this being a pre-owned, previously boneyard and broken replica. But that's what you'll get with it. You'll also get a set of flip-up iron sights, backup iron sights, so we previously mounted on there. I've removed those backup sights, tend not to use them. I'll be putting an optic on this when I use it in game. However, it does come with open optics out of the box, which is great. You get those on there. They're polymer, they're the standard flip-up affairs. So you'll have seen those on many ARs before, whether you want to leave them on or not. I'll leave that up to you. But in this case, I've taken them off. Now let's talk about the construction of the replica. And to me, it's possibly something that's going to put you off from an upgrade path. But the replica is predominantly polymer. Pretty much every part of it, with a few exceptions, is polymer. The key mod handguard, polymer. The upper receiver, polymer. The lower receiver, polymer. Polymer pistol grip, which obviously you get on most AR replicas anyway. Polymer buttstock, and for me, a bit of a downer, but a polymer buffer tube as well. Don't normally like to see a polymer buffer tube. If you compare it to, say, a G&G combat machine or one of their budget line of AR replicas, they will normally come with a metal buffer tube, which is nice. So yeah, that for me is a bit of a downer. So pretty much everything on the replica that you can see, even these key mod rail sections here, and here are polymer, and the other one that you get in the box as well is also polymer. Now if we move on to what isn't polymer and what's metal, there's a few strange choices, shall we say, on what's been included in metal. Now the outer barrel is metal, it's an aluminium, which is great. You do want a metal outer barrel. I have encountered replicas with plastic outer barrels at extreme budget ends, and some not so budget. You don't want a plastic outer barrel. A metal outer barrel to me is a must, and this one thankfully comes with a metal flash hider and a metal outer barrel, which is great. You'd expect that, but that's a good choice to have metal on. Now, the bits where it gets a little bit stranger is the parts that, you know, on a lot of affordable replicas don't normally come as metal, but on this, they do. So, the cover on your ejection port, that is metal. Your magazine catch, that is a full metal magazine catch, which again is a nice touch because they can wear down when they're plastic. But if you were looking at something such as the Cyma CM513, or Cyma CM515, which again are another good choice for me for affordable or beginners replicas, they have a plastic mag catch, which plastic mag catches can have problems. It's usually something you change out immediately. The selector switch on this replica, that is metal. The trigger is metal. And your charging handle, which is a lovely charging handle, I quite like it, it's extended with the charging handle release here, and that is metal. The charging handle is also full metal. The mock bolt is metal. Your forward assist, which again is a mock forward assist, is metal. So I mean, you know, on a lot of, you know, more affordable replicas, you wouldn't normally get a metal dress-up parts, as I would call them, on an AEG, because they're not really functional as such. The one thing as well that is good is, although it's a polymer buffer tube, your sling point here at the back is metal. Now again, on something like the Cyma CM513 or something along those lines, you wouldn't get a metal sling point, you get a plastic one, which again is a point of failure. You know, if you're running a sling on there, it's going to rub and eventually that plastic's going to give way. So a metal sling point, that's a nice touch. You know, I usually change out for metal sling points. Again, if you were going for something like an AEG strike systems, which again is another affordable replica, they don't come with a sling point at all. So it's nice that this does come with a sling point included. So that's great. But everything else, apart from your pins and your bolts and screws and what have you, everything is polymer. It's a completely polymer build. One thing of note that is nice is a vented base on the pistol grip. The pistol grip is vented and it is metal, which is nice. Normally, again, on affordable replicas, you can find that very often that will be plastic, which not as good as having a metal one that's vented. Lets a bit of the heat of the motor out if it's getting warm. So that's the construction. Predominantly polymer, which again at this price point you would expect. But one thing that I do like about it is not cheap feeling polymer. I don't think it's quite as nice feeling as the G&G polymers, such as on an ARP or something like that. The polymers on G&G do feel really nice. It's a really good quality polymer. However, this Lancer polymer is not flexible. It doesn't creak. You know, there's not a huge amount of rattle, apart from the usual rattle that you get off your buttstock on an AR replica. So there's no rattles, no creaks. It's not plastic. It's definitely a nylon polymer, and it feels good quality. It's got a matte finish to it. So all of the polymers on it do feel quality. They don't feel cheap. Makes the replica slightly lighter, so don't let the polymer build necessarily put you off. It certainly doesn't put me off, and I will certainly run this replica in game to see how it gets on. So the polymers are good quality, that's what I can say. So although it is predominantly polymer made, they're good quality polymers. Not quite on the level of a G&G polymer, but not far off. Certainly a lot better than the plastics that are used on something like a Cyma CM513 or something along those lines. And they feel slightly nicer than a similarly priced Strike Systems AR polymer. So a good quality polymers, I like that. So that's the exterior, that's what it looks like. Let's get to the good bit, the bit that I like. Internally, this replica comes with a 6.03mm diameter inner barrel, which by all accounts is a Type bore inner barrel as standard. Now that's nice. You don't get that on some high-end replicas. And if you look at the hop-up there, I hope you can make that out on camera, it is a rotary hop-up, which again, on you know, more affordable replicas, you don't tend to get a rotary hop unit. You'd normally get a standard hop unit. I particularly like rotary hop units. I think they're easier to operate. I think they hold the hop better than a standard hop unit on an AR. So in other words, once you set your hop, you can forget about it. It's not going to change again. It should hold its position. And they're just generally easier to work on. So, you know, from the barrel group point of view, it's a nice inner barrel. It's brass, but it's still a nice quality inner barrel. It's Type bore, and you get a rotary hop-up. You don't have a functioning bolt release on this replica, so you do have to hold the charging handle back to access it. But again, that's not hard because it has got this extended charging handle, which makes it much easier to access. So yeah, the hop group, I really like it. It's good. Then we get on to more internals. Now, as I worked through this replica, obviously this one's been used loads. The parts that had worn out on it, the motor was not very strong. Now I can't comment whether it was like that from the factory because this one had had a lot of use. But the motor on this one had worn out, and also the cutoff lever had worn out, which was why it was failing to work in semi-automatic anymore. So they were easy fixes. But to fix the cutoff lever, obviously I had to go into the gearbox and have a look at it. So in the gearbox, the good parts is you get a quick release spring, and it is a quick release spring. It's accessible from the buffer tube. All you'd have to do is remove the buffer tube and you can access the spring while it's still in the receiver, which to me, that's brilliant for an affordable replica. A lot of higher end replicas that I have that have claim to have a quick release spring, you still have to take the gearbox out to get to the quick release spring, whereas this you can just get straight to it. And the other side of it is is that if you are working on the gearbox, a quick release spring makes it so much easier, because you can just remove the spring and all the tension's gone out of the gearbox. It makes it so much easier for reassembly, because you can just put the spring in after you've put everything together, done all your shimming and that. Brilliant. So quick release spring is an awesome touch on there. When I actually got the gearbox out, the gearbox shell is quality. It is radiused on all four corners at either side of the casing for the front end of the piston assembly for the cylinder head. So that's nice. It's a nice touch that they've radiused the gearbox again on an affordable replica. Again, that's something you don't see on a lot of higher end replicas or mid-range replicas. I can't express how happy I was to see that on this replica. The piston that's included is a nylon piston, which is the best way, but it has a full metal rack. So it's full metal teeth piston for longevity, which is, a lot of people like that. I don't always use metal rack pistons myself, but it's there, it's included, which is good. The gears seemed good quality. All metal gears. All the components in the gearbox I have no complaints with whatsoever. And the good thing as well is it's pretty much standard version 2 gearbox affair in there. Unlike other affordable replicas I've worked on, such as, I keep mentioning it, but they're one of my favourites, the Cyma CM515 or 513, they have some slight differences in the gearbox, such as the tappet plate is proprietary to those gearboxes, so you end up having to modify an aftermarket tappet plate to fit. Now with this you won't have those problems. This uses standard Tokyo Marui compatible version 2 gearbox components, and that is nice. Everything in there seems nice. The cylinder seems quality. There was quite a lot of oil in there. They did the usual of putting a lot of grease on there, but there had been attempts at shimming. There were shims. It was shimmed quite tight from the factory, but again, no problems really. Everything seemed like good quality. So there you go. That's my quick look over the gearbox side of things. The other downside of it is it does not include a MOSFET. Now I would say there isn't many at this price range at £110 that would include a MOSFET, to be fair. There are some of the Strike Systems ones aren't much more expensive than this one, and they include a MOSFET. It's a very basic MOSFET, but it has a MOSFET there. Some of the newer Platinum range from Cyma, again, you're upping your budget a little bit, but they include a MOSFET and metal receivers and the like. Some of the Specna range that we've looked at on this channel before, again, you're only paying maybe £60–70 more than you would for this replica, but you might get metal receivers and you'll certainly get some sort of MOSFET included. And the same with G&G. However, at the price point that this is at, it's not got a MOSFET, but the option is there for you to add aftermarket because it is a version 2 box. It takes standard parts. If you're looking for an upgrade project as an existing player, this could be a good base if you want something light and a full polymer build. Like I say, the options are there. So, the positives for me outweigh the negatives. I like it. The negatives, that I'll always give you the negatives to it, is we've just mentioned there's no MOSFET. I think the motor was probably weak from the get-go, because I have older motors than this that have had more use and still going strong. So the motor might be a weak option from the get-go. I do not like polymer buffer tubes. I think they're a point that could break, a point of failure. So I don't like polymer buffer tubes. That's a downside for me. And then the other side of it really is that it is all polymer, but there are advantages to that as well, so it's just personal preference. So yeah, not a huge amount of downsides. On the whole, that's a good little replica for £110. It's a good size, feels good in the hand. Yeah, so if you're in the market for an affordable AR for your airsoft skirmishes, then, from outside appearances and the internals of this particular replica, I can definitely say, as a basic AEG, you can't really go too far wrong with it. It's really good. Lancer Tactical as a company, I haven't got a lot of Lancer Tactical stuff. I've only got this and one of the spring Barretts that they do. But yeah, as a budget option, if you're on a tight budget and you can't step up to something with a MOSFET, then this is certainly an option for you. If you wanted to go lower cost than this or similar cost, then certainly look at the Cyma range. I've mentioned the CM513 and CM515 a few times. I like those replicas. You can get those extremely affordable in some places, but if the price is similar to this when you're looking at them, get this. Don't get the 513 or 515 if they're a very similar price. Step up to this. You get better quality plastics on your old polymer shell, and the internals, yeah, they're there. They're quality. You've got your radius in, you've got nice equipment inside. So there you go, guys. That's the Lancer Tactical. My first impressions of the LT19BL from what I've discovered working on this one. I hope you enjoyed this quick look round it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, then please drop a like on it. And as I said before, if you're enjoying my series of videos, then make sure you get subscribed, then that way you won't miss any of my uploads. And if you want any more content from myself, then there are pages available for Rock Bottom Airsoft on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also direct message me there. But if you have any questions about this replica, or if you have any questions about Airsoft in general, any questions for me, then do drop a comment below. I will always respond to comments. I might not get back to you straight away, but I will always respond. So with all that said, thanks very much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one.